movie meetup at the Cineplex Queensway VIP at the 6 p.m. screening of The Mandalorian. So that'll be this Sunday night at the 6 p.m. screening of The Mandalorian and Grogu at the Cineplex Queensway VIP in Toronto. I know the tickets are already selling fast there, so we look forward to seeing all you guys there who are in or around the Toronto area. All right, guys, listen, we need to have a short show today because, well, technical reasons that I won't get into right now. But we do still have a lot of stuff that we need to get to. So let's get things kicked off, and let's start with this. You know, one of my absolute favorite shows on TV right now is House of the Dragon, and they just dropped what they are calling their final trailer for Season 3 coming out on June 21st. Now, look, I know most people love the first season. For some reason, some people had issues with the second season. I don't know what everybody else is smoking. I thought the second season was great. But, you know, that's the beautiful thing about the art. It's all subjective. It all hits us in different ways. But I love both seasons. And I've been very excited about the third. And I'll tell you what, the marketing campaign and the trailers and teasers that we've had for Season 3 already have been good. Like, they've been really good. They've been really solid. But they pale in comparison to the sheer visual, fiery, bloody goodness that we got in this, what they are calling the final trailer of Season 3. And it wasn't just like a lot of dragons like the dragons flying around and doing dragon things. That was cool too. But it was the human violence and the human drama. And, you know, seeing Matt Smith taking somebody out on the battlefield and the dialogue and the stuff Rhaenyra is saying to the throne. Oh, shots like this, like very Lord of the Rings-esque scale feeling things like this. You know, this just looks amazing. Now, whether or not Season 3 to the other two seasons or whether it takes a dive in quality, I mean, I don't know. We're just talking about a trailer. Sometimes trailers mislead us. But I have all the faith in the world in this third season. This trailer, I think, is the best thing they've put out so far. Again, the dragons look great, the armies look fantastic, the drama looks like it's going to be on point. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see this trailer. What did you think about it?
Bro, I had to go take a cold shower after this trailer. I was so hot and bothered. It was unbelievable. I watched this trailer, I watched it again before we went live. Trailer of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. Wow. I can't wait. And I know that this season opens with the Battle of the Gullet. Is it the Gullet? It's going to be insane. I cannot wait, John. Cannot wait.
Most of the highlights for you.
You know what I love? When she says that the Queen has a lot of dragons and they cut to the aerial shot of King's Landing. That shot. You know, there's that shot. And then I love when my redhead says, you know, she talks something like royalty making aerial things. You know, and I'm just like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. But then the battlefield stuff is all insane. You know, it harks back to the Battle of the Bastards. You know, I got a lot of that feel for that. And I just, oh man, the visual effects of this show are astonishing. And there was a lot of those on display. And unbelievable. I can't believe
this part near the end
when Rhaenyra does her best score and her best "Bring me Thanos,"
yeah.
And she's like, "Bring me Aegon the usurper." And listen, like sometimes they take liberties with stuff that happens in the texts, and sometimes they stick to the texts. Like those who've read some of the material. You know what Aegon's ultimate fate is, so I wonder if they're going to stick to that's in the books, or if they're going to give us something of a... I'll say it, I don't think Aegon's fate in the books is all that satisfying, to be honest with you. I know several really enjoy it, really love it. I think there could be a more satisfying, you know, resolution to him if Rhaenyra is involved in it. So I don't know. That's just me. But I don't know. What do you think is going to happen with Aegon ultimately?
Well, I mean, I think you're right that it's a different medium. So whatever happens to him, it's got to be graphic, and it's got to be as you put it, satisfying. I mean, it's again. I don't know if I hate him as much as Ramsey Bolton. But
You know what they do? You know they've done better with this character.
I think he's a more multifaceted character.
I agree. I 100% agree. And they did that little thing by us witnessing his upbringing,
Yeah.
right? And us witnessing, why he has that scar. And, the interesting thing about the whole scenario is that, in a way, both the red, the green, and the black are right. Rhaenyra's side is right in that, yeah, the king picked her to be the successor, period. But at the same time, the Greens are right when they're saying, her children are not legitimate children.
Right.
They are not, at least not all of them, not the first ones that are the heirs to the throne. So when they're correct, they're right about that. And so that's something this whole show's done well. And when you get to Aegon, understanding all the things that he went through as a kid too, that kind of led him to that moment, there's a little bit more empathy, which makes his madness and evil all the more tragic at the same time. With Ramsay, we never felt tragedy. With
he was such a mustache twirling villain.
Well, yeah. And who was the stupid king in the first couple seasons of Joffrey. Like Joffrey, there was no tragedy to Joffrey. It was just fun, and we loved it.
He's just a sociopath.
Yeah, we loved hating him and hating Ramsay. But there's something really cool about Aegon because we hate him and we see his madness and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, there's a little bit of tragedy to his story. So I respect that. And I think that makes the story a little bit more deep. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What did you think about this new and what they are calling final trailer to House of the Dragon Season 3? I think it looks spectacular. Whatever you guys think, jump down in the comment section below and let us know.
To reach the farm, head north following the winding path down the mountain.
Let's move on to
But be
this.
careful. Danger
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the single most
Remember
important, not
to
the
tend to
only
your
important
wounds.
piece, but the single most
Not
important
always
piece
the physical.
about marketing a movie is the
Your eyes
trailer.
are on the
Now,
horizon
the
now.
trailer
But
is
do not
probably
forget
the
to
one
look
thing
back.
that
To
will
look
guide
within.
determine most whether or not an average moviegoer decides they want to go and see a movie, which is kind of unfortunate because a trailer, as much as I love trailers, I made an entire documentary about them, but the trailer
Take care of
is
yourself.
a piece of
and the old
overly
man.
produced propaganda meant to entice you to give them your money. And yet, we trust that above anything else. We trust it above word of mouth. We trust it above, third party, no interest involved, movie critics. No. More than anything else, we trust the corporately produced snake oil sales pitch by a company who is just trying to get our money.
I was on
That
that
we
road
trust
for so
most.
long.
But it is what we trust most, and we love them. We love movie trailers. Well, every year they honor the art of making the movie trailer. And if you saw my movie Trailers and Love Story, you know those are the Golden Trailer Awards. And the other night, they actually held the newest installment of the Golden Trailer Awards, and the big winner on the night was the trailer for Project Hail Mary. Project Hail Mary took home the top prize, which they call Best in Show, for the whole thing. Now, they give away a lot of awards at the Trailer Awards, including like at the Oscars and Golden Globes in different categories. So the top overall prize went to the Chance trailer from Project Hail Mary. So here are a couple of the other ones, though. The Best Action Film trailer went to The Running Man, which, you know what? Think what you will about how The Running Man turned out. I was disappointed in it. It was a pretty damn awesome trailer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
For sure.
yeah, it took home Best Trailer. Let's see, Best Comedy Trailer was the trailer for Anaconda. Again, whatever you thought about that movie, the trailer looked awesome. Best Documentary Trailer or Biopic was for Pee-wee as himself. Let's see, Best Drama Trailer went to Project Hail Mary. Best Fantasy Adventure Trailer also went to Project Hail Mary. I agree with this one a lot. best horror trailer went to Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Oh, for sure.
Because, again, however you feel about the movie and how well it did turn out, that trailer was sick. It was so good, it got me instantly interested in it. And so there was that. Best music in a trailer went to Project Hail Mary. And stupid category, but best summer of 2026 blockbuster trailer is Disclosure Day, which is rapidly approaching us here. And you know what? There has been a lot of great trailers over the past year. There have been a lot of them. But I'll tell you what, I look at this list, whether it's The Running Man for action, Lee Cronin's The Mummy for horror, Project Hail Mary again, and these have all been terrifically marketed movies. Of course, Project Hail Mary, I still believe, is the best movie of the year so far. Well, we got some big ones coming yet still. But it took home the best overall, best in show. Rob, you saw the list of the award winners for Golden Trailer. What do you think about the winners? And were there any others that kind of stood out to you that maybe you thought would get more recognition?
Well, I mean, like you said, you can't judge a trailer by the movie that it's representing, because more often than not, trailers are designed to, sell even bad movies. I've seen great trailers for bad movies, and we did see. I thought the trailer for The Mummy was way better than the final film. But the thing is, though, with like Project Hail Mary, there's like 3 different trailers. We get a teaser, trailer A, and then the final trailer.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because I thought the final trailer for Project Hail Mary was the best trailer.
Yeah, I think that was the chance.
Sure,
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Those Running Man trailers, again, The Running Man was a movie. Really like Edgar Wright as a filmmaker. I really love the original source material that I read when it first came out, I think in '82. But I was really disappointed in the movie. But the trailers were great. All the trailers for The Running Man. I remember I think we saw the first time we ever saw a trailer was at CinemaCon.
It was, yeah.
And
oh my God, this movie's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We were so convinced it was going to be so great.
But I don't think that they missed. I think all of these choices are great choices. I mean, because they come to mind. I can still see the trailers in my mind's eye, when they bring them up. I mean, I know those trailers because I watched them more than 5 or 6 times.
I mean, how good was Weapons?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that.
When I got to the horror category, I half expected to see Weapons listed, but then when I saw Lee Cronin's one, I'm like, oh well, yeah, that one.
But the Weapons trailer is great.
It is, yeah.
Really, really, really good. So.
But I mean, it really kind of highlights too the fact that making trailers is such an art in and of themselves, because like we point out a couple of Rob, we talked about Running Man, we talked about Lee Cronin's Mummy, neither of which lived up to their hype. Like I love everybody involved with Running Man, and I didn't think Running Man was bad.
No.
I was just let down by it a little bit, but the fact of the matter is their trailers were so top notch, and they do such a great job. And I talk about on the show all the time that the number one job of a trailer is to take our existing enthusiasm level for a movie, whether it's already high or whether it's low, and just bump it up a couple of notches. And all of these trailers did more than bump up our excitement for those movies. Did more than just a couple of notches. So good job at the Golden Trailer Awards. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the results from the Golden Trailer Awards? Project Hail Mary taking home top prize. Other films getting some really well-deserved ones as well. Do you think there are some trailers that got overlooked? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, you know what I think we would do today? We played some overreaction a couple days ago, but we have not played ourselves a game of what's more likely in a while. So we thought we would take a shot at here today. Here's how what's more likely works. I jumped on the YouTube channel a little bit earlier today, and I asked a bunch of you guys, I said, hey, do you have any scenarios for us comparing things as to what might be more likely? A whole bunch of you guys sent in some scenarios. Jonathan's got them gathered up here. So, Jonathan, what we got up here first?
Well, we got the intro playing. I hinted that. Rob, we're going to start with you.
All right.
What's more likely in this scenario? We're going to hear from CPR, the Blade movie happening, or Blade in a Midnight Sun movie.
Wow, that's a good question. I'm gonna say I'm going to say the Blade movie's still happening because there's been so much development work that's already gone into it. Whereas a Midnight Suns movie probably has to have more development work. Although I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm going to say it's more likely that some form of Blade movie is going to
I 100% agree with you. Because, well, I'm not saying a Blade movie is going to happen. You guys know I have my doubts. But as far as what's more likely between that or Blade popping up in a Midnight Suns movie, it's simply this. I just don't believe there's going to be a Midnight Suns movie. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the but here's the thing. I don't believe Marvel at all believes that is going to be commercially viable. I don't think they consider that a Midnight Suns project will remotely be commercially viable. And again, yes, everybody can go back to the old fallback. Oh, they did Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, 100%, but that is the exception. And I don't think they think they can go back to the well of that. Now, don't confuse that. Would I be interested in a Midnight Suns movie? I absolutely would be interested. I just don't think the wider audience would. So while I think neither are likely, I think it is more likely that we do, for all the reasons Rob said, I think it's more likely we end up actually getting played. All right, what's next?
All right, John, we're going to move on here and come back to you on this one. What's more likely in this scenario? From JC, Daredevil Born Again is canceled after season 3 or continues on to a 4th.
Obviously the real answer to that question will depend on how well the ratings do with season 3. But since we're not there yet, I hate saying this, but I think it's more likely that Daredevil gets canceled after season 3. I mean, the reality is, season 2 was awesome. I loved it. And being as awesome as it was, it still couldn't get the ratings. Not once did it crack the Nielsen ratings top 10. And I kind of expected when the first part of the season didn't get on the top 10, I thought, well, as word of mouth starts getting out there about how good this season is, it'll start climbing up there as we get to the second part of the season. But it never did. And I just don't know what to do after that. Like, all you can do as a producer is make a great show. And then you leave it up to the TV gods. They made a great show. I thought season 2 was fantastic, and it still couldn't get the numbers. They don't break the bank in making it, but it's still a relatively expensive show to make. Like, way more expensive to make than, Shrinking. So, I unfortunately say, while it's not impossible to get a season 4, I think it's more likely it probably gets canceled. Rob, what about you?
I agree, but there's also, I totally agree that I don't know if it's so much getting canceled as the 3-season model for streaming is pretty par for the course. Because when you go beyond 3 seasons, you have to renegotiate deals, and a show gets more expensive to make, just in general. So unless something's a really huge ratings, juggernaut, most streaming shows don't move beyond 3 seasons anyway. And I think to get 3 seasons out of Daredevil on the Marvel side is pretty great. So I think, like you said, the ratings themselves have not justified it unless something drastically changes for season 3. But I don't think it's going to go further than season 3.
We can hope. We can hope. I just don't think it's likely. Anyway. All right, what's next?
All right, Rob, sticking with you here. What's more likely? We're going to hear from Dan's Gaming. A DC and Mortal Kombat crossover or a Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter crossover?
I think a Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter crossover would be probably easier to engineer than a Marvel Mortal Kombat crossover.
For DC?
I'm going with Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Now, look, here's the reason. You have to ask yourself the question: Why would James Gunn do a crossover movie with Mortal Kombat? Like, why? Why would he? There's no reason to do that. Like, ideally, you do crossovers to then kind of cross-pollinate fandoms and to the benefit of both, so both properties get to stand out more. But the reality is, Mortal Kombat 2, which was much better than Mortal Kombat 1, it's only made $122 million. Like, that's the money that DC movies are making in their opening weekend worldwide. Like, so why, if somebody approaches James Gunn and says, hey, what do you think? We've got, this whole property, what do you think about doing a crossover movie
Look with it.
with Mortal Kombat 2. Now, it would definitely benefit Mortal Kombat 2, but James Gunn, there's simply no reason to do that. There's not. So it would be like me going to Joe Rogan, you know, a flippin' nobody that absolutely nobody knows on the internet, and going to Joe Rogan, the world's most popular podcast, saying, "Hey Joe, what do you think about doing a crossover?" It's like, why would I do that? Like, what's I see the benefit for you, but what's the benefit for me, right? So, yeah, I also don't think we're going to get a Street Fighter Mortal Kombat 2 crossover. However, I think it offers a much more tantalizing, situation there, because I think both are going to be roughly the same in popularity, and they could help each other out. So, I don't think either are going to happen, but I think it's more likely that we get a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter crossover.
All right, what's next? Moving on to our fourth scenario here. Sticking with you, John, but what's more likely to hear from Amin, who says Michael 2 making more or less than the first film at the global box office?
I'm going to say it's more likely that it makes less. And the reason I'm going to say it's more likely that it makes less, by the way, Michael has crossed the $800 million mark. I mean, we said from day one that they announced this, that this was going to be a huge juggernaut film. I no longer think it's going to get to $1 billion, but we thought it was going to be a big fight. But the reason I think Michael 2 will make a little bit less is because not everybody loved Michael. I think everybody who loved it will rush back to go see it, to go see number 2, and I think that'll be a lot of people. But I think there's also going to be a lot of people who saw the first Michael that won't necessarily be all that interested in going back to see the second. So I can see the second one still being quite successful, like 650, 675, 700. But I don't see it making more than this Michael. So I think it's more likely that happens.
Now?
I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, I think one of the problems with I would assume they talk about going back in time or whatever, but Michael 1 is kind of like
His appetite is never satisfied.
lots of action, lots of fun, lots of
He sends his son to take down his prey.
Whereas
Down.
part
What
2,
does he
it has
want?
to be by definition
We've done nothing to
a
them.
different kind
What
of
they
game.
all say they want.
It goes to a different
But
place.
I would guess the
And,
real
uh,
answer
I
is
think
power.
that is
We
going
could
to
be
be
highly
inherently
mighty
more
in a
challenging for
but
audiences
within
and
his
less
walls,
fun.
Oda Nobunaga will not
Unless they
stop
figure out
the
a
knife
really interesting way to
until
do it.
we have
You know
stopped
what?
stretching.
I think
we
they are
have to
going
stop
to
him
absolutely
first.
stick with
And
the
with your
first
father
one.
and Momochi
I think they are
Sandai,
just going to
we
focus
stand
on
a
the music.
great
I think there will
chance.
be
Momochi
references to
Sandai,
some
you will
things.
fight with us?
They'll maybe take 5 minutes
Oda
out of the
Nobunaga
movie here and
will
there.
finish
to
by
address
sunrise
some of the
tomorrow.
heavier stuff.
By
But
nightfall.
I think they're gonna say we're gonna stick to the formula. Hey, what did everybody love in the first one? The music. That's what everybody loved. And that, including me. I was dancing in my
I
chair and all
believe
that
this
good
is
stuff.
the one.
I think they're gonna
Take a
focus
closer
on
look
that
at that
and kind
shrine.
of brush
There.
over a lot of the other stuff, but I still think it doesn't make as much as the first one. Alright, what's next?
We got our last what's more likely here, and we're going to go back to actually we're going to go with Rob here. So Rob Geeky asks, Shrek 5 makes more than Toy Story 5 or the reverse?
That's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to give Toy Story 5 the edge.
There's something here.
I think that Toy Story 5 has more. It's more for, even though they're both 4 quadrant. I think it's more 4 quadrant. And I'll
Is
tell you
this your
something.
katana?
It also has the older audience.
get it,
I
but
think
I thought
older
you know
audiences
CT
are
is
more
for good.
interested in the Toy Story franchise than
How
Shrek.
wrong I was.
So you've got like people like myself.
But now,
I would go see Toy Story 5 without kids.
Mine?
I don't know if I would go see
now
Shrek.
you're all Nagato
I
has.
think
It is why he protects you so.
I would absolutely go
destiny
see
comes to
Shrek
your
5
door,
myself.
you
I
must
would give 2 craps most.
Hey,
As the kids,
first,
I want to go
I-
see Shrek 5. I want to go see Shrek 5. I'm dying to see
Well,
Shrek
that's
5.
because you're a movie fan.
I mean, yeah, but people love Shrek. Here's the thing. I think, now I'm not saying this is going to happen.
My name is
I'm just
Nala.
going to say, I don't think this is outside the realm of possibility, okay? I'm not saying
Can
it's
you
going to
go back to
happen.
the father?
I'm just saying this is not outside the realm of possibility. I think at the end of the day, when you end up and add up the total combined box office worldwide, Toy Story 5 and Shrek 5, I think you could be talking about $3 billion. Now again, I'm not saying that it's going to do that. I'm just saying I'm not going to fall out of my chair shocked if it does, which of course would average out to about 1.5 each. Oh man, to me, this is the toughest one of this entire list. Because I think both are going to be massive successes. I think they're both going to be fantastic. I'm going to say Toy Story 5, though. I think it's more likely that Toy Story 5 ends up being the one that makes a little bit, again, a little bit of a richer history, a little bit more success in its track records. This is coming from Pixar. This does, what we haven't really seen a full trailer for Shrek 5 yet to know really how it's going to feel. Especially the new trailer for Shrek 5 or for Toy Story 5, Rob, looks fantastic. And like I've seen it with a couple of audiences now that cheer when it comes on. And so I think it's going to be closer than you might think. And I think they're both going to be wildly successful, but I'll say it's more likely that Toy Story 5 ends up making more money. All right, guys. And that will wrap up today's session of What's More Like.